Hey, you guys. I am recording my first podcast right now. So, my name is Ashley, and this is the Addict Mom official podcast. So, I am recording and I'm also filming this because I made a YouTube page for the Addict Mom official podcast. That's the name, because I wanted to put the podcast on a different page than my Addict Mom YouTube page. I wanted to separate the two because on my Addict Mom Facebook page, it is censored so much, and I wanted to be as uncensored as I can on my Addict Mom podcast. If I want to show the world the uncensored podcast, I can't really put it on the page of the Addict Mom because there's more of a chance for it to get shut down. Whereas if I separate the two, then if one gets shut down, then it won't affect the other one and I can keep going. For those of you who have not watched any of my videos on my YouTube page, let me introduce myself. I am an addict. I am a heroin addict and opioids in general. I have been an addict to almost every illegal and illicit drug there is. I have been addicted to meth, coke, pills, Xanax, opioids, heroin. I have dabbled in the party drug, ecstasy, LSD, acid, PCP, ketamine, but I was never really addicted to those. It was really the meth, coke, pills, and opioids and heroin. So the main purpose of this podcast is to share my experiences as an addict. I am currently almost 4 years sober, and I have learned a lot in my sobriety. The stuff that needs to be talked about is not being talked about. People see people overdosing or people doing all the bad things, but they're not showing how an addict truly lives. They just see them doing the illegal things and then they see them getting better. Like, they don't see the in-between. They don't see what happens when you first get sober. They don't see in between from the time you're an addict to the detox and the few years in between, and then out of nowhere they see someone, they're recovered and they're perfect and they have a good job and they have money and they're happy. Like, I want to show you the in-between. I want to show you what other people don't show you. I want to show you what happens when you're 3.5 years sober and you still haven't graduated college, when you're 3.5 years sober and you still don't have a good job. What happens when you're 3.5 years sober and you have the entire weight of the world and you are in the middle of a pandemic and you can't leave your house? I want to show people what it's like when you're sober for a few years and now you have hepatitis and you have HPV and you have all these other illnesses and viruses that are keeping you sick. I want to share my treatment. I want to share experiences with people, and hopefully I can change the way society views addiction and mental illness. I also want to focus on mental illnesses and mental health as a whole, because the two are connected, and a lot of people do not connect addiction with mental illnesses or with mental health. And I am here to change that, you guys. So I have 2 kids and they are young. They're both younger than age 10. I am a full-time student. I am going to school for human services, social work, addiction therapy, the like. I have a lot of plans for my future, many plans for my future. All of my plans have to deal with helping other addicts find their way in life. That's what I am here to do, you guys. So as of right now, it's just me by myself. I'm currently at my desk speaking into a little microphone connected to my computer. I do hope to get guests eventually, other addicts share their experiences. I definitely want to get a mix of people who have gotten sober, people who've never tried to get sober, people who have quit cold turkey, people who have tried to go into treatment centers, people who have never been addicted, people who have never experimented. I want to get so many people on my podcast to talk about their experiences and how they differ or how they are similar with my story and with one another's. So my business email is TheAddictMomOfficial@gmail.com. Message me if you would like me to share your story, or if you would like to maybe be a guest on my podcast, because I would love to share people's stories. If maybe you're too scared to speak to people, potentially hundreds of people listening, or if you just don't want to share it, but you would like to get your experience heard because it matters, I'm more than willing to read it for you. And anonymously, you don't even have to tell me your name. If you want to give your name, that's cool. But I would love to hear from anybody who is willing to share their experiences or questions or any requests you would like me to talk about. So, how is y'all's weekend going? Today is Saturday. It's Saturday night. It's midnight, so it's technically Sunday. It's 12:06 a.m. I'm recording my first full-length podcast because this is the only time I can guarantee that my son is not running around my house screaming and yelling. My son is 3 and he is nonverbal. He does not talk. He does not say one word. He yells, he screams, he whistles, he hollers, he cries, he hums, he squeals, he screeches, but he does not talk. And when he's communicating, he will scream. And it is very, very loud in my house whenever he is up. We have tested his hearing. His hearing physically is fine. His eardrum is fine. They did the auditory brainstem procedure. His brain is fine. So we're not quite sure why he's nonverbal. He is being tested for autism, and he's also being tested for other developmental delays. So hopefully we'll get an answer here soon. But with all of that being said, when I do record my podcast, they will definitely be after 10 p.m. Because I have kids and they're loud. Anybody out there with kids, y'all get it. I will start this podcast let's start off whenever I first decided to really get sober. So in 2017, I was pregnant with my son. And by the way, I have a video on my YouTube channel, The Addict Mom, and it is titled Pregnant and on Methadone. That's what this story will be. It will be about me being pregnant and on methadone, choosing to get help, except it's not going to be as censored as it is on my video on YouTube. So if you would like to catch the video on my YouTube, go catch that. Now, I will say I am not that censored on my YouTube, The Addict Mom. I do leave out certain words on certain videos, but for the most part, I just speak my piece and I speak what I need to say. If I feel that I'm saying a certain word, like a certain name of a drug or a certain name of body harm or something like that, too much, I will block it out while I'm editing. I'll block it out so I'm not saying it as much, so I won't get banned as much. But I'm still very open on my YouTube. So I'm not sure how much more uncensored, I guess, or how much less censored this will be compared to my YouTube, but I do know I don't have to censor it as much. So that is really cool, and I'm really happy about that. So in 2017, I was pregnant with my son now. And when I got pregnant with him, I was on Suboxone I was prescribed from a doctor. At this point, I had actively not been using, actively trying to stay clean for about almost a year. I was abusing it. I was not taking it as prescribed. I was not taking it a lot. I was actually only taking half a strip a day, but I was not stable. So I would take a quarter in the morning, a quarter at night, but I was not stable. So when I say I was abusing it, I was not getting high and I was not doing it in any other way. I was putting it under my tongue like you're supposed to do, but I was not stable. So I was not in a good state of mind. I met my son's father and we had our time. We did what we did, and I ended up pregnant very, very quickly. So whenever I got pregnant with River, I no longer went to see my doctor because, number one, I did not have the money, but number two, he would not see me whenever I was pregnant. Whenever he stopped seeing me, he did not get me into another doctor. He just stopped seeing me. So after a few weeks of after seeing the doctor, I ran out of my Suboxone and I went into really, really bad withdrawals. I just stayed at home for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I got through the first, 3 weeks of it, and I ended up moving in with my mom. And after a few months, I was just really, really, like, I never got over the withdrawals, you guys. I was so, so sick. You guys, these withdrawals from Suboxone, literally, I was going into 5 months pregnant, and I was so sick. I would just be laying in my bed, puking in a trash can all day, every single day for 5 months. And I'm not being dramatic. And then I would have these horrible pains in my back going up my spine, into my neck. And they were pretty much just muscle spasms because I was withdrawing, and, the baby was withdrawing. And it was so painful. This was unlike any other withdrawal that I have ever felt in my life. And for the people out there who have felt withdrawal from opioids and heroin, in Suboxone, regular, they suck. Regular, you will do anything to not feel that feeling. You will do anything to get over it. Being pregnant on top of that, I can't explain it. It was the worst feeling ever. I mean, I wish I could explain it, and I can't. So after a few months of being sick as hell, you guys, I have my first prenatal check, like at my OB, and I tell her, I was like, man, listen, I'm sick. I'm an addict. My doctor stopped seeing me. He gave me Suboxone. He did not wean me off, and I have been sick for months. And my doctor was like, all right. So she sent me over to the methadone clinic. About 2 weeks later, from the time she referred me to the time I called them, and then I had to go back and forth twice to do paperwork, to do a urinalysis test, and then about maybe 10 days later is when I finally went in to be dosed for methadone, okay? And I go in, I'm dosed with methadone for the first time, okay? And before me going to the methadone clinic, I had never done or tried methadone. I had never abused it, or one time, and it was like years before. But other than one time, I had never abused it. I had never gotten high on it. I had never been prescribed it. I had never messed with methadone. That was the one opioid I had never done, simply because I was not around it. That's the only reason why. If I could have gotten a hold of it, I certainly would have. So I'm given methadone. They had me sit there for about 10 minutes just to make sure I would be okay. I was okay. And me and my mom are driving home, and about 10 minutes in the car on the way home, you guys, I mean, this methadone kicked in, and I was just so normal feeling. I was not high, but I felt so normal. Like, I felt good. I felt happy. I was not sick. I could feel my son moving around in me. I was hungry. And when I tell you, I this entire 5 months from the time I got pregnant, until the time I tried methadone, or I got on methadone at about 5 months pregnant, I could not eat that entire time. I would be sipping on Gatorade, sipping water, and, because I already get really bad sickness in my pregnancy. I get really bad morning sickness, really bad day sickness, night sickness, everything sickness. So the withdrawals on top of it, it was just excruciating, okay? So on the way home, I'm starving. And so we stopped by we stopped by Burger King, that's right. And I get so much Burger King. I go home, I eat, and I'm cool, right? And I go, a few weeks on methadone, and I'm cool, I'm fine. Don't know how do I word this? I don't say triggered me, but I guess I could. I don't know what convinced me to really take this serious and to really get sober. Whereas I could have just said, I'm pregnant, I'm going to get on methadone just so I'm not sick. I just don't want to be sick. And whenever I have him, I'll hurry up and get off, or I can go back to using on the streets or whatever. And I, honest to God, don't know what changed in me that I said, you know what? I want to get sober for real. Like, I want to live a life that's good. I don't want to be dependent upon illegal substances. I can get on methadone, and whenever I'm stable, I'll wean off properly, slowly. But I do not want to be in these streets anymore. Because you guys, I was in the streets, okay? That's a different story for a different time. I honestly don't know what it was. My boyfriend at the time, he was in jail when I started methadone. And I think maybe just him being in jail and me being at home for the first time in years with my daughter. At the time, she was 6, and I was pregnant with my second child. And I think it kind of clicked for me. I think it really was just the realization that I had to get my life together. And if I didn't get my life together now, I would lose my kids. I would lose everything. And I would never get this chance again. That's how I felt. I felt, if I don't take this chance, I'm a fool. If I don't take this chance, I'm at home with my mom. I'm getting help in every way I could possibly get help. Find forgiveness, find happiness, find solace. I said I would. I said, you know what? I'm going to find all of that. And I started therapy, got therapy for me and my daughter, because at the time I got sober, whenever I was pregnant with my son, me and my daughter had not lived together for about 3 years. Something happened, and she was living with my mom in my addiction, and I left, I moved out. Plans to get sober, but I never truly got sober when I left her. And I'll explain that. That's a different story. But for the last 3 years, I had not been with my daughter. Now I'm coming back in her life, but I'm coming back in her life and I'm pregnant. So I said, you know what, me and my daughter really need to get to know each other. Like, I need to change everything that's going on in my life because something is not working. I had left my daughter 3 years prior with the plan of getting sober, and I never got sober. I wasn't necessarily using heroin the entire time, but I never truly got sober. I was abusing my prescriptions, and I didn't care about life. I was working a night shift job, and I was sleeping all day, and I was working, I was paying bills. I did have my own car and own apartment, but I was not sober. I was just a binge user where I would be clean for a few months, and then I would go on benders for 6 to 9 months at a time, and I would lose everything and rebuild. I just saw it, I saw the light for what it was. My life was not working out, and it's all because of the actions I was making. It's all about what I was doing was not good enough for me at the time. The people I was around, they were no longer good enough for me. I kind of saw my worth, if you will. I do remember looking in the mirror after being on methadone and after getting, by this point, it's maybe 2 months into methadone. So I'm about 7 months pregnant at this time. And I remember looking in the mirror and I remember just thinking to myself, like, damn, you are a woman. You're a woman who can push a human out of her body. I can grow a human inside of me. I am more powerful than I will ever understand. And if I don't do something with this body that is so powerful, I will wither away and I will waste away. And I would have been a waste of skin, a waste of breath, a waste of a mind, a waste of a mother. And I didn't want to be that anymore. I had already been a waste for over a decade, and I did not want to be a waste anymore. I wanted to be something. I wanted to be everything. And I remember the moment when I thought that. And that's the moment I said, I'm going to get sober. I'm going to do this. And I started going to therapy, and I'm no longer in therapy at this moment. I do want to get back into it with me and my daughter, but that's a different story. But I did go to therapy for almost a year. No, I would say about a good 6-7 months I went to therapy. And then I stopped going because it got too hard. I stopped going for many reasons, but a huge reason is because it got too hard. I didn't want to talk about the hard stuff, and that's what I do. I'm a runner. I run when things get hard. When I don't want to talk about something, when I don't want to face something, I run. When I get too close to people, I run. When I start loving somebody, I run. When I feel like someone's loving me a little bit too much, I run. And so I ran, and I've been slowly facing stuff myself over the last few years. And that's where this podcast comes into play, and that's where my YouTube came from, because I actually wanted to start both of these last year in 2020. Well, I wanted to do it in 2019, but I said, nah, like I'm just not ready. I want to do it in 2020. And I was too scared. I actually had it set up. I had to record it, 1 or 2 videos. I put them out, and I got too scared. I deleted everything. And this year came about, and I said, kind of the same concept again. If you don't take this chance to do something that will help you in your sobriety and possibly help at least one other person, you're going to waste away. And I didn't want to waste away again. So, I've made a few videos on YouTube, and I said, let me do my podcast. Let me just do it. So I made 2 little baby episodes, nothing crazy, like intro episodes. And now I'm recording my first episode of my podcast. And this may go nowhere. I may get 1 listener. 1. That's it. I may get 1. And if I only get 1 play, hopefully it's a play from somebody who really needed to hear my voice. And I hope if you're listening that you can see that it's not easy, but if I got here, anybody can. And as time goes on and as I tell more of my stories, you will see that I have been so far gone. I have been below my rock bottom many, many times. Every time I thought I found a new low, I would dig myself deeper. Many times. And I always wish that I had somebody to tell me that I was worth it. I wish I had somebody to listen to who could tell me the truth of sobriety and of addiction, and tell me the truth that I'm not crazy. Tell me that I am worthy to feel my feelings. I'm worthy to feel the need to use. My feelings are valid, and I'm not alone. And that's what I hope to do for you. You're not alone. And it is kind of ironic that in addiction, when you're using, getting high, doing the hustle, chasing down money, chasing down drugs, and you put the powder in the spoon, heat the spoon up, you mix it up, you draw it back, you tie your arm off, tie your foot off, tie your leg off, tie your neck, and you hit yourself or you hit somebody else. You're not the only person getting high at that time, especially when there's other people around you. You can be in a room full of people, all the people, and everyone's getting high, but you've still never been more alone. And it's kind of crazy to think about it like that. In addiction, you feel so alone. You feel like nobody could possibly understand what you're feeling. You feel there is no way. Nobody knows how I'm feeling, how bad the withdrawals are. Nobody has felt this pain. Nobody has been this sick. Nobody has felt the muscle cramps. Nobody has had the migraines. Nobody's had the vomit. No one's shit themselves. No one's pissed themselves. So many people do feel that. So many people feel that every single day, right now. Right now as I'm saying it, right now as you're listening to it, so many people. And that is so crazy to think about because they too feel alone right now. Maybe if somebody can listen to this and they can know that they're not alone. And everybody who has felt that same feeling that you're feeling, who is here today to say that they lived through it, I'm speaking for them. I'm speaking for the people who have survived their addiction, who have survived the withdrawals, who have survived the sickness, who have survived the mania and the depression and the anxiety and the sobriety. And I'm the one speaking for them and saying, we all lived through it and you will too. What I would not have given to hear that And whenever I was sick, I would have given anything to hear that. Just to have someone to say that they understand exactly what I'm feeling, and just for someone to say they hear me, they see me. So often I would walk around with my track marks showing, blood, all crusty blood all over my arms, all over my neck. My hands would be swollen. I mainly shut up in my hands, and my hands would be swollen. And I never tried to hide it towards the end because I wanted everyone to see it, because I wanted somebody to tell me that they saw my pain. I want anybody to walk up to me, to grab me and just say, I see your pain. You don't have to do this anymore. I hear your pain. I hear you and I see you and I understand. And so badly, I wanted whoever this person was to just walk with me to get better. And it never happened. It never happened. I never had anybody come to me and say they understood. I never had anybody come to me and say they heard me, that they saw me, they saw my pain. Nobody ever did that. And I refuse to let other addicts feel that loneliness and that hopelessness. No. If you are an addict right now, even if you think I don't know you, even if we've never met, you are not alone, because I'm thinking of every person right now suffering with addiction and suffering through their anxiety and their sobriety. You are not alone, and I see your pain and I hear your pain, and I will be forever grateful to be able to be here today and every day forward and help you through whatever. And I hope I can. So remember that. Message me, email me, talk to me, because I want everyone to know, just message me, email me, vent it out. If you want me to read your story, if you want me to respond, cool. Whatever y'all need, because I just want to be the person that I needed in my sickness. And I think I can be that if you let me. I think that's it for this episode, you guys. Thank you for listening. Your support means everything to me. I really, really, really appreciate it. I don't have many followers. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the few that do listen to me, it means a lot. We can change the way society views addiction, and we can change how addicts are treated. We can change how mental health is treated in the health community. The medical community needs to change how they treat addicts and how they treat people with mental illnesses. They need to, because people are going to keep dying until it is changed. People will keep dying until addicts are treated rather than being punished. People will keep dying as long as we keep saying addiction is a choice. And as long as we keep treating it as such, people will die. People will die as long as we treat mental illnesses as a choice. People will die as long as we keep treating mental illnesses as a sign of being weak and lazy. We can change it. We have to change it. So I will see you guys next week, and I'm not sure what the episode will be about. I have no clue, but I know y'all will be there. So as always, make wise choices, make good decisions, and remember, you're never alone, and you are not the first person to go through what you're going through. Remember that. Okay, y'all have a good night, and I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.